I'm Meryl Key, and here's your Astro Dicery for August 2023. If you want some background astro core on transits and moon climate for the month, check out my What is Happening and Why videos. And if you'd like to support my channel, remember to like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you. Here's your August planetary picture, and then we'll get into some dice for each sign. There's 2 full moons and a new moon this month. First, on August the 2nd, there's a full moon in Aquarius. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's the late summer festival of Lunar. The new moon is on August the 16th in Leo, and in the Southern Hemisphere, that's when we celebrate Imbolc, the first light at the end of winter. Then we get a second full moon on August the 31st at the end of the month in Pisces. Mercury's in Virgo and turns retrograde on the 23rd. It'll stay retrograde until September 16, and that ties it up to Virgo until October. Venus is retrograde all month in Leo. Mars is in Virgo, moves into Libra on the 27th. Jupiter's in Taurus, Saturn's retrograde in Pisces. Uranus is in Taurus and turns retrograde on the 28th. Neptune's retrograde in Pisces, and Pluto's retrograde in Capricorn. So there's a bit of retrograde action as the month moves on. The big aspect is really centering on the Venus retrograde, and especially that second week of August, from the 7th to the 11th, and the lead up into the new moon. This is when retrograde Venus is squaring off against Uranus, meaning a release and a resetting the balance in relationships. There could be a surprise attraction, an electric flash insight into a connection or a conflict or money, or something you thought was on a new path is looking like a repeat pattern. This one's valid for all signs, but Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aqua are getting a jolt, and Aries gets a breakthrough, and by the new moon on the 16th, you'll have more clarity. But expect that second week to be a bit tetchy and unpredictable. There's more on that in my monthly What is Happening and Why vid. But for now, let's roll some dice for each sign. Aries, you strike it lucky when Uranus sideswipes Venus and the new moon. And this could bring the stroke of brilliance you need. Let's see what the dice has to say. We've got Jupiter, Libra, and the first house. That's lucky. Jupiter in the first house is as lucky as you want to get. It brings in the right support, it makes you good-natured and popular, and it expands your presence. And with Libra there, it's you taking on a more confident, more buoyant, more visible role in your relationships. There really is a confidence boost with this. Jupiter with Libra expands Libra's sense of justice and fairness and equality. It expands her grace and her beauty and her attraction. And it's all very natural. You're getting noticed for all the right reasons. And it's boosting up your self-worth. If there's been an imbalance in relationships over the past few months, August means you've settled into a bigger sense of self and a bigger presence in how you are in your key relationships. One little side tip though, Jupiter expands what it touches, and in the first house, that can mean putting on weight. But with Libra there, it's getting the balance right and enjoying your body, enjoying your physicality, and generally being in a better mood than you have been for ages. Taurus, your rule of Venus is retrograde, and cooling off in relationships might be a thing. So let's see what the dice has to say. Sixth house, and the moon, and Scorpio. Well, Taurus, we have to be a little bit careful of the moon in Scorpio because it can harbour resentment. There's a bit of a mask. It can see in the dark, and it's super sensitive. And this is being played out in the sixth house, the place of your daily routines, your daily work and your health. Something is calling you on a daily level to really check in with the deepest parts of your emotions and the most vulnerable places of your core. So at work, this might mean there's a workmate that's giving you a hard time, or you have to close off from that. Some of you might find you have to take on a carer's role, or really, again, it's your own care that needs attending. And this could mean starting therapy or checking in with your mental health, get some support and a guide for those dark places. Going underground for a while or pulling back from someone or something just to process your feelings. You could also find that you're the person holding someone else's dark secret, someone else opening up to you. With Venus retrograde in Leo, this can also represent that cooling off in relationships, pulling back from intimacy, or wanting a different kind of intimacy, needing some reassurance in the day-to-day before you're fully ready to let go. This does look like it's a healing time for you, a restorative time, and if you can get there in a safe space, a time to really open up about your deepest needs. Gemini. Gems, your ruler Mercury is retrograde later in the month, and it sends out crosswires your way, and that means pre-plan for hiccups in communication over the next 2 months. Here's what the dice has to say. Neptune, 10th house, and Sagittarius. Well, Neptune in the 10th does put a bit of focus on that theme of misplaced items and misunderstood communications. 10th house makes it a bit public. Geminis, if you're launching something on social media or broadcast or standing up in front of a group, making a presentation at work, check that you stay in your lane. Check that you're not glossing over details and you're not stepping into overreach. Sag and Neptune is really spiritual, but it just doesn't know when to stop. It goes on and on and on. It's searching more and more, and it starts searching into the astral realms, into the dream spaces, into imagination. If that's the line of work you're in or what you're being recognized for, this can be really good. But if you're needing to appear as someone who's responsible, meticulous, detailed, finger on the pulse, that sort of thing, then this dice is saying you've got to keep your feet on the ground in August. There's recognition coming your way, and it's important that you understand where your boundaries are so that that recognition becomes a reward and an acknowledgement. Some of you gems might find you have to fill in a position or check in with some ethical standards. You might be pulled from your normal place of work to another space. It's creative for you, but just again, Gem, keep your feet on the ground. Don't step into overreach. Cancer. Cancer, the tides are moving in and out, and 2 full moons make you extra sensitive in August. So go with the current, even if it takes you backwards before you go forwards. Here's what the dice has to say. Got the 4th house, Neptune and Aquarius. 4th house is your place, Cancer. So this is bringing you home, and with Neptune there, helping you find a soft little nesty place, a place where you can let yourself go, where you can be messy and unstructured. And with Aquarius, looking for a new way of doing things. So you might have gone back into your shell to process and develop a new idea, birthing something a bit out of the ordinary for you. Neptune and Aquarius is really uses creative intelligence. It's also good at technology. This might involve computers or new software, a new program you're learning, a creative program. And for some reason in August, you've got time to do that at home. You've got a space to develop that. Another way of looking at this is wherever Neptune falls, there's a bit of a sacrifice. So some of you might find the boundaries around what you call home have dissolved a bit, and that might make you a bit flexible about what you call home. With Aquarius there, it's like you don't get a lot of choice about it, but it's about being fair, it's about being equal, and it's about being a bit inventive. With all those retrograde planets and Neptune there in the 4th, Cancer, I'll be taking extra care around backing up all my data and doing a bit of a computer tidy up before we hit when Mercury's retrograde on the 23rd. And if you've got any issues with plumbing or water or rising damp, August might be the time that you get a solution for that, or you start tackling the problem. Leo, the new moon on the 16th brings a new cycle. But Venus is retrograde in your sign, so something from the past is calling for you and needs your attention. Let's see what the dice has to say. Oh, Virgo, Jupiter, and the 12th. Leo, you do have something calling you from the past, and it's almost like it's ancestral. With Venus retrograde in your sign, the dice is pointing to unfinished business that goes back generations for you. It's along your ancestral line where your ancestors had to live very harshly or very restricted, maybe very religious, and you're now called to finish off what those ancestors couldn't do. The 12th house is the mysterious house of veils. It's where you go to take time out, to restore, to get into a deeper inner world, and where you don't need to get out and show your face. Jupiter is expanding that place. So it's reaching out for you to connect. Through Virgo, Mercury's retrograde in Virgo at the moment, means there's messages and voices, things that have missed or been buried, that really take your interest at this time. And it's relevant to you for some reason. The dice is saying the answers you need will be from going inward, from not looking at the outside world for what you need. Almost in an analysis of the past, an analysis of where you've come from and where you stand today. And with Jupiter, I think you'll be really happy with what you see and how you see you've brought that thread through and really flourished. Mercury's in Virgo till October and retrograde on the 23rd. So Virgos, you need extra care on phone, computers, cars, keys, emails, everything. It's hitting you hard. And you've also got Mars in Virgo till the 27th. And this is making you extra busy, maybe extra hasty. So slow down. Let's see what the dice has to say. Uranus, 6th house, Virgo. Well, I guess this is calling you directly to that Mercury retrograde in your sign and Uranus being a bit extra this month. This is also a bit of a special dice for you because there you are, Virgo, and there's the 6th house, your ruler. So you are going to have some sort of upheaval in your day-to-day stuff, in the stuff you take for granted, in the comfort of your routines, and in the place you call work. Uranus doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it is upheaval. And we know it's chucking scuds all through the month. So, Virgo, keep your head down at work. There may be a lot of change and a lot of things coming out of the blue. There may be restructures. There may be people suddenly leaving, or you suddenly get a new project on your desk that you had no idea was coming. The best thing you can do with that is be you and attend to your details. Attend to your health needs. Whatever's going on in this drama outside of you, you've got the strength in your side because there's Virgo and there's the 6th house. And Uranus is like a lightning bolt that exposes what's been split off, what doesn't fit properly. Also have to think that Uranus rules technology and computers and cyberspace, that sort of thing. So we do go back to that idea that your computer might blow up this month, your car could break down, and you're just going to have to be patient and get used to something new. There's a sense of a revolution coming your way, and you're quite happy doing things the way you do it. With this, you really got to trust yourself and let any cracks in the system be exposed for what they are. Libra, both Venus, your ruler, and Saturn, your protector, are retrograde. And this can offer up a really creative treasure box if you can let it melt open. Let's see what the dice has to say. Third house, Libra, there you are. And Pluto, end of the road for something. The third house is all about communication, the way your mind works, the way you respond, the way you learn. And Pluto's there saying you've got a kind of piercing intensity and a penetration in the way you speak and communicate in August. Libra, there is your sign. And it's going to be important that you keep your scales balanced. There's something you're seeing and you're seeing right into it. And this can be investigation or research. This could just be a reaction, a sharp response to something. You might like to stay on the surface, but really in August, you're invited to go deep in. Speak your truth. Express your vulnerability. Find words for what is really buried down. This could also mean that you're doing some self-development or getting some therapy. Something you're reading, something you're learning is uncovering a mystery within you. You're seeing where you've responded from fear instead of love. Now, all of August, there's a chance that everyone's being a bit tetchy and testy. And Librans, you're reminded here that when you open your mouth, sometimes you're going to speak the unconscious truth. So be very mindful of the power of your words. Scorpio, that second week in August has your senses prickling. There's a chance that you might have a bit more fatigue or exhaustion building this month. So watch you don't bite off more than you can chew. What does the dice have to say? Scorpio, you have Scorpio. 7th house, place of relationships, and Mars, your ruler. Or your old ruler. This is strong. This is you tackling relationships. It could be that there's a power struggle going on in some of your key relationships. You might be coming on too strong or too dominating, or it might be that your partner is really leaning on you at this time, asking you to lead. And there's resistance to that. For some of you, this can be an outright argy-bargy. But I'd like to think that Mars in the 7th is about leading the way and fighting for what you love, standing your ground and using assertion rather than resentment or domination. You're looking for real intimacy here, and in August it is really possible. But you'll have to trust your instincts because you're looking for safe space to open up that vulnerability. And this has a tinge of competition or even violence. Mars in Scorpio is really physically strong. It's very committed and very loyal. And if this is where you're going, then there's a lot of energy for that development in August, about going deeper into a relationship. But if something is not right, if you're starting to see something behind the mask, or if it's your own mask slipping, you need to channel this Mars energy into something healthy. Go and do some sport. Go and bounce a basketball. Dig in the garden. August is going to be about you channeling that power that you have into a healthy space. Sag, the biggest issue for you guys is to watch that Mercury retrograde phase. Don't skip the detail or assume. Saturn's retrograde too, and there are really bendy boundaries everywhere. So let's see what the dice has to say. Oh, 9th house, that's your house. North Node and Virgo. Lovely. Well, this is a peak experience for you in a place you're really comfortable. Virgo in the mix may well be pointing to that Mercury retrograde, and we know it's hitting you guys hard. So if you are doing presenting, if you're releasing a new product, if you're launching something, the detail is going to be very important, and that you get everything supervised and checked and that the system behind it has all been adhered to. The 9th house is where you prosper because it's a place that takes you out into the world of philosophy and policy and higher learning, where we can look at the laws and the structures behind things. The North Node there is saying there's a little eruption coming that way, and it's usually in a good way. This opens up and expands the way the 9th house likes to, but it releases what's been buried behind it, what's been banked up. What you want to be showing in August is your Virgo ability to be responsible, to serve, to be attentive, and to have humility with that. A picture I just got right then, Sag, is you being applauded and celebrated for something that you've put out, but secretly you know you got there by the skin of your teeth. Be patient with yourself and work on the small things so that the big stuff comes off shining. Jupiter's still sending some love your way, Caps, and Pluto dipping back into your sign for a few months helps you refine your strategy and get on top of things. Let's see what the dice has to say. Libra, North Node, and the 2nd house. Capricorn, this is about your resources and how they've played out over time, and it's a good sign right now. You're at a peak of something you've invested in, something you've got to give, has reached a peak. Now, with Libra there, that peak might actually be about breaking even. Libra likes its scales balanced and it likes things to be fair. So if you're calling in an investment or looking at your resources this time, you can probably strike a balance and make things fair. But if you're looking for a wildly extravagant result or a really big win, this is talking about something far more realistic. And to be happy with what you have earned. You might be at a point in a key relationship about working out what is yours and what is theirs, or vice versa. And there's a change that you're redirecting in that place. This isn't bad for your resources. It really is about getting the balance right. For August, one of your biggest resources is going to be your social life and the way you engage people and the way you share the space, the way you host. Just know in some way the connections you keep, the relationships you forged, feed back to support your resources. Aquarius, the full moon is on the 2nd of August, and that has you reaching a culmination, an acceptance, and feeling recognised. But that second week of August could throw a curveball and might be a bit of an ordeal. So, what does the dice have to say? Venus, 10th house, Aquarius. There you are. This is putting you right in the limelight, Aquarius. And it could be in your work or your career or a role you've taken on, the way the world sees you. With Venus there, it's quite lucky. It's about your values, your beauty, your the way you attract, and also the relationships you forge. For some of you, this will be about your relationship to money and reaching a culmination with that. Maybe it's a long-term investment or a long-term debt that you've had and you might be clearing. Or it might be that you have to change your work around a financial commitment. Venus in Aquarius is an unusual beauty. It's someone who's really good at groups, who's a bit of a glamour puss, and very comfortable being seen in that space. On one level, this could be a reading about crowdfunding or being involved in a group that really elevates your position. There may be a very strong female in that role, or you may be that strong female yourself. But Venus is there giving gifts to how you're seen in the outside world, and it brings out the essence of you. Pisces, right at the end of the month, the full moon in your sign is on the 31st. And this is a beautiful moon for ritual, and for setting goals. Saturn's retrograde in your sign, and this opens up your creativity to new levels. But this is a time for visions and not for promises. Everything's a little bit wobbly. So stretch out your imagination and create new forms. What does the dice have to say? Pisces, there you are, Venus, and the second house. Pisces, this has you looking at your resources, what the cost of living is, how much you've got to spend, and there may be a female who is either draining your resources or adding to them at this moment. It could be that a friend is really, really helpful to you at this point, or a sister, or it could be your own artistic ability that you're looking at making income from. Venus loves to be in Pisces. She can be soft and dreamy and romantic, but the second house is not about romance unless you're writing romance fiction or something like that. The second house is making sure you've got enough and using well what you have. In some way, Pisces, it's your sense of beauty, your sense of artistic grace, and the way you can move money around from one place to another. That's going to be your greatest resource in August. Venus can be bringing money your way, but I suspect because of Pisces, you being there, that it slips through your fingers at the same time. So this is where you might be looking at your relationship to money and where you want to be able to hold it and where it's okay to let it flow. With Saturn in your sign, this is a good lesson to get right now. Thanks for catching up on the Astro Dice this month. I'm Meryl Key, and this is my mystery school. Thank you for your likes, shares, follows and subscribes. They really help my channel. It's been awesome. Find me on Instagram at my_mystery school or on my website www.merylkey.com.